the meeting to order. We've got 5:30 now.
Perfect.
All right, I'm here, Renee.
Yes.
Emily.
Yep.
April.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Kyle.
Here.
Marcus.
Here.
Aaron.
Yes.
All right. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda for tonight. If there are no suggested changes, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. I'll second.
Renee and Emily, have you seconded that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is approved. We have our student council report. I'll let you introduce yourself, but you have to tell everyone about your achievement over the weekend first.
All right.
Please.
My name is Carson Anderson. I am here as the student council president, and I bowled a 300 at the state tournament this weekend. Thank you. So here is what Frederic students did so far in April. On April 10th, student council hosted an end of state testing party as grades 6 through 11 students tested. We played dodgeball, 6 through 11 versus the 12th grade. 6th and 11th grade students won. We also played a new game called Heads and Tails. Students had to guess either heads or tails, and the last student standing won. The 6th through 11th grade team won that as well. All students were given snacks as a reward for their hard work. We are also working on student council elections for next year. The senior advisors are working to build a system for nominations and finalizing roles for next year. Students have started expressing their interest in joining or being a representative. The next student council assembly will be May 1st. We're working on a game show that would be fun for all the students involved. And then both the middle school and high school student councils are working on cards and letters to hand out during Staff Appreciation Week to show our gratitude towards everything they do for us. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and next we have Deb. Do you want to come up here? You don't have to, it's
I
up to
can
you.
stay back here.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
if you'd
Brad,
like to.
perfect.
yeah.
Okay.
If you want to sit, you can sit.
I'll
That's
do that.
perfectly fine too.
And so I just kind of wanted to give an update of the year, and also I sent out a copy of the new contract with Frederic. In the first paragraph, I asked that we start the contract with June 1st of 2026, and then go from June to June. And then down on points, let's see, it was 14 and 15. 14 would be to be able to use my offices during the school or during the summer months, so I can see kids there. And that'll also make it easier, especially at the elementary with the kids who are in daycare, because I can just take them right from there. And it just is nice because the kids feel safe there. That's the space I've worked in. And in point 15 on there, I asked if it would be okay for me to use my school offices to see children and families that are not in our district. I work with a program called CCS. It's a statewide thing. And so, and I do that all after school hours. And so this would just be a place for them to be able to come, and so I wouldn't have to drive all over the place. So yeah, so that was just, in other schools I've been able to do that, and it's a nice way for other families to see our school in a positive light. And a lot of times they will make comments about, oh, and you have this here, and you, so it's a nice way to promote without having to do much. And then I sent out a little thing on how the year has gone. And so I've seen 34 students this year. I have 2 new referrals that just came in this week. 26 are at the elementary, 8 are at the 612 building. Currently, I am seeing 30, that will go up to 32 next week, with 23 at the elementary and 7 at K-12 building. And so then I just kind of showed how the numbers have grown and, 2 have been able to complete services, they're doing well. I had a couple with significant symptoms, and so I was seeing them twice a week. One of them has been able to move down to once a week. And so it just kind of ebbs and flows with how families are doing and, yeah. Yeah, and then I had one that moved out of district and one who was also receiving different services at another company, so they chose to do therapy too, just so everything was all at the same place. And I wanted to share, this is kind of a fun little fact, that I'm really impressed with, and yay for Frederic. I have had 14 of the clients, students I've seen this year, their fathers have been involved. They came to the assessment meeting, they've been involved, they've called me, and I've never had that high of, that's almost half of my kids where fathers are involved. And so I just was super excited about that, and I was telling my coworkers who are in Minnesota, and no, usually it's maybe 2 or 3 families. So I just think that's really neat, and good job, school, cause you're doing good. So I was excited about that. And then the other thing that I found interesting is the elementary has kind of slowly been growing all year. We knew the 612 building would be slower just because that's how they are. But I've had 5 new referrals from the 612 building in the last month. So I feel like it's really, I actually don't know what I'm gonna do next year because I think I'll be having to split my time equally between both buildings. Just because I have quite a few 5th graders that I'm seeing now, and I would guess I will carry at least 3 or 4 of those on with me. So, yeah.
What would a full caseload be for you now? Where would you get to the point where you say I have to close to new referrals?
30 is a very nice number.
Okay.
Well, 28 is a really nice number.
Mm-hmm.
I've done up to 38, that's too many.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to say about 35, and then I know I have a little space for those severe cases, the actively suicidal kiddo or whatever. So there's always, and then it kind of becomes a triage where, well, sorry, your anxiety's gonna have to wait. And so, and that's been the nice thing right now. I've been able to help a lot of the kids who would usually get put on a waiting list just because, and a lot of, I think, when we're done this year, I feel like a lot of them will stop seeing me because they will have gotten the skills. And then I tell parents, sometimes it's like going to the doctor and you just need a quick checkup, a reminder of what you've learned. And I always tell kids I'm available even if I'm not seeing them, and sometimes they just need to come in and talk and they're good again, so.
Okay.
Yes. Any other questions or anything?
Can I just comment on how wildly amazing it's been to have Deb there full-time?
Yeah.
In the past, we've had somebody 1 or 2 days a week. But my experience has been Deb's in the hallway, she's in the lunchroom, she's at breakfast, and kids will just seek her out. And we don't have to say, well, you'll have to wait till Thursday. And I think it's been a really good collaboration because then when major incidents happen that I'm involved in, then it's really nice to be able to communicate with Deb because when she meets with those kids again, it's a nice support on the back end after there's been something big, but it is huge. It's a huge difference having somebody there all the time, that presence.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a huge asset to the school district to
Yeah,
have you
I think so
right
too.
on site and be able to provide those services
Yeah.
to students as well.
I think most districts wish they had that.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
so. Oh, yeah. I mean, is there any other district in the area that you know of that has, I'm not aware of any.
No,
Most
not
have the
here.
same thing though, 1 or 2 days a week that somebody will come at it. So, no, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
Very fortunate.
So, I'm so excited that you're talking
Well,
about
thanks
next
for
year.
making
Yeah.
While Deb's here, do you wanna go down that item and?
Yeah, we have
That was
that,
just stick around waiting.
right, that is action item A, is that contract. I guess, did anyone have any questions about the updates that Deb was talking about? Use of the office in the summer and use of the office after school hours for kids that aren't from our district? I'm presuming, I think Kyle and I were sort of talking about this, the families won't have access to the building, you have to go to the door and get them and then you would lock, so they
Absolutely, no, yep.
be escorted in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I think that's.
No, I think it's.
I'm just curious, is your office in the elementary or the high school?
I have one at each,
Oh, okay,
which
nice,
is also
okay.
very amazing, yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, that's good, I didn't know if you had to like.
And I'd see it kinda hidden, so people don't know who's going.
No,
It's
yeah,
private, it's pretty private.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and at the elementary, they just all yell and talk about it.
That's their, they can do what they want, but
Right,
fair.
their end they can't, our end we don't, right.
Yeah.
Alright, can I get a motion to approve that contract?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for next year.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excellent. Contract approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, I'm not planning to go anywhere. I don't like change, so.
We don't
Well,
either.
this is really good change for us. right?
Thank you, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deb.
Alright. So next we have our presentation by School Perceptions, and Brandon's gonna help us because he's amazing.
I'm so curious how this
What's that?
Why is this in our extra?
Hello, Aaron.
How's it going?
We're good, how are you tonight?
Doing very well, very well.
Welcome.
Are you ready?
We're
Yeah,
ready.
we're ready.
Jump in.
Outstanding, so I'm gonna share my screen. The good news is you don't have to look at me, you can look at my PowerPoint, which is a better deal for you. So, and I'm gonna ask for someone just to confirm that that is showing up nicely for you.
Yes, looks good.
Okay, great. All right, so here is your staff survey report to the board for April 15th, 2026. This is how the presentation's gonna flow tonight. You're pretty familiar with us from our project in the fall, so we'll get through our background pretty quickly, and then I'll get right into your survey respondents, then our results and analysis, and then I'll take any and all questions. Glad to stay on as long as you need to quiz me about the takeaways you should have as a board or things you're wondering. So, again, you know about us, we've been doing this for 24 years. The survey that we're studying tonight is our top selling product. We've done millions of these surveys all over the country. And as you know, we've also helped districts with strategic planning and referendum planning, the things that we gauged in the fall with that community survey. So let's talk about this staff survey. It had a survey deadline of March 23rd. We typically send these out with about a 2-week window. We like to have 2 weekends for folks to take the survey, and you got a great response. 76 employees took the survey, and that gave you an 81% participation rate. Our company average on a survey like this is 65 to 70. I know Kyle and his team were very intentional about trying to create time and encourage the staff to take the survey so we could get as much input from as many different folks as possible. While the process is highly anonymous, we send the survey out via email. I know there's always going to be those that are skeptical about who knows who said what. Our process is really locked down inside our server. There's only one employee that knows who said what. That's our programmer, Tim. He loads the emails into the server, and I would have no way of knowing which employee answered a certain way. We really take that seriously, but we do ask them information about themselves so that we can drill down and give you more specific information beyond a summary report like I'm providing tonight that is a K-12 across all positions. I can break out your data for you by the elementary school results versus the 6 through 12 results versus district office positions, district-wide positions, people that serve multiple buildings. Within a reason. Once we hit 5 or less employees, we have a confidentiality cutoff. And that really applies to the next slide. As you see here, we can break the data out by position. Classroom teacher, are you an ed specialist, which is your counselor, psychologist, reading teachers, people in a specialty role, paraprofessional, support staff, etc. And this is where you can do some really neat work inside the district. I shared with Kyle when we were first launching this, and I worked with Kyle in his previous district too. Drilling down by position can kind of tell you where the pockets of happiness or unhappiness, depending on the question you're studying, is better or worse by position. I found that out kind of the hard way in my district back in 2019, 2020. We were recovering in my district from Act 10, and I put so much energy into developing a teacher pay scale that when I drilled down and looked at the paraprofessional pay grid, they were not nearly as happy with what we had in place. So I had some work to do regionally to study wage rates and caseloads in the special ed department, because while we had some employees feeling pretty good about things, others were less than thrilled. So also, and not many districts have done this, but we can even study results by years of experience. I just did a project in Lake Geneva where their superintendent asked for me to provide the results broken out by the first couple of years of service versus those veterans, just to make sure the young kids were feeling supported, mentored, those kinds of things. So again, completely anonymous, but we can study results in a number of different ways for you. So let's talk the survey results. First thing I need you to understand is the rating scale we use. We use a 5-point Likert rating scale, and we word the questions in the manner that in a perfect world, there's 30 questions on the survey. We would love everyone to give you a strongly agree on everyone, and you'd have perfect five points for every question, and then we're done for the night. Well, it's not a perfect world, and you're gonna have people that strongly agree. You're gonna have some that'll disagree with what's asked or strongly disagree. But I'm gonna ask the board, a reminder here with our Likert rating, what's missing?
The 3. No neutral answers.
Right. If they say they don't know, they click it, but it has no point value, and I'll just remind you, because they're not telling us anything. They're not adding value to the study of that question. So I'm gonna start by showing your index scores, but I wanna show you anonymously a peer Wisconsin district just to explain, and then I'll set the context for the report and show you your scores. So on a 5-point Likert scale, I'm gonna show you your indexes first. And your indexes are areas that have 6 to 8 questions that feed into them. So the indexes we use on your survey, these are not your results, by the way. This is a peer district that will remain nameless. Very typical report though. You have 6 to 8 questions that feed into the academics index, how the staff are feeling about the academics they're providing, how engaged they feel, how supported they feel, how they feel the student experience is going, and how their staff experience is going. So on that, with all the questions that feed into these indexes, some are good, some are bad, they're kind of all over the place. I'm going to, in a couple slides, show you your indexes when all those questions are averaged together. This is a very typical range of scores. When the low scores and the high scores are all averaged together, they typically end up being around 3 or slightly above 3. And these are just the scores in isolation. Some districts stop there. They just want to know on a scale of 1 to 5, how are we doing? However, what we can provide for you, and what Kyle asked me to provide for you, are percentile rate comparisons, where we compare your scores to hundreds of other districts over the past 2 years. We keep it fresh and current. We always do a 2-year look back, and how your scores compare to others on a percentile rank basis. just to give you some context, if you're in the top 75%, that's elite, that's really strong. If you're in the 25th percentile or below, that's where we get worried, and that would probably be on our to be improved list. This is a district where once all the questions in each index were kind of averaged together, they're kind of average. 38th percentile, lower average, 45th percentile, average, 52nd percentile, pretty average. So, knowing that, I wanted to show you that first because that gives you some context. Here are your scores on just a raw Likert score rating scale. So again, for a typical district, here are your scores. All approaching or above 4. And again, that means every question that feeds into the academic score, the engagement score, are pretty good. But to give you a clearer idea of how this report is going to shake out tonight, here are your percentile ranks. Now I just told you, anything in the top 75% or above is remarkable. All 5 of your index in totality are at the 76th percentile or above. Which means this is one of the strongest reports I've ever given in my 4 years with the company. Okay? Any questions about how I'm going to report out the results tonight via these indexes?
I like what I see so far.
Great. Then let's get into where the rubber really meets the road, is going question by question. And trust me, it's not laborsome once I explain the scoring methodology and how we're going to report these. But again, I'm going to do a little bit of a look at other districts. Same rating scale, but by question. Now, some districts, and I explained this to the staff, just want the question, how many by percentage gave the district a 4 or a 5, and then what all the average scores together averaged out to. I've got a couple of districts in Arizona I work with. They don't want comparison percentiles because they're both 15 miles from the border. Half of their children are immigrant children and don't even speak English, and they just don't have any interest in being compared to Frederic, Unity, Somerset, New Richmond, the districts in your region that I work in. It's just a completely different playing field, understandably. But this is a peer district in Wisconsin, and this is pretty typical. You have varying agreement percent that gave the district a 4 or 5. You have varying average scores. What Kyle insisted upon, again, is percentile rank. So, when we show you all a range of scores like these 2 slides, when we add in the percentile rank, that will tell you on that question specifically how you're scoring compared to hundreds of other districts in our server. And again, these are districts over the last 2 years. Many of them have done multiple years of this work with us. They're trying to chase improvements on these areas and raise their scores. But right now, this district, this is where they stood. And the percentile rank really helps, I need to point out to you, because without that, you see a 3.62 for information important to my work is shared with me in a timely and effective manner. You might worry about a 3.62 compared to a 3.92 on I feel comfortable sharing input concerns to my supervisor administrator. But because each question varies in how the other districts rated it, until you really know how you compare to other districts, you don't really know how you're doing. And that's why I was pleased when Kyle said, no. Whatever the results are, we want to compare ourselves to other districts across Minnesota and Wisconsin that you work with. So, here's why those percentile ranks help. As you go through the scores, sure, seeing a 2.84 maybe makes you worry because, wow, look at that score on disciplinary practices and policies. But that's at the 38th percentile. Our staff does a good job educating our students, is at the 4th, even though it's a 393. So this district said, hey, we gotta talk as a team about why we're lagging behind our peers on the job we're doing for the kids. So does that report out make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's talk about yours. Here are your workday questions. And I'm gonna go question by question, And now that you understand how we're gonna report it out, this will go very efficiently. So, they're scored, they're arranged by highest percentile rank to lowest. So again, now we talk about our school student discipline practices and policies are effective. 86% gave you a 4 or 5 for an average score of 3.82. That puts you at the highest percentile rank available, 99. There's no such thing as 100. So, with most districts I work with, discipline is their biggest staff. It's one of your strongest areas. Going down the list, I feel supported by my supervisor administrator. There's your scores, 95th percentile. Workload has been on the minds of a lot of the districts I'm working with this past 18 months. Staffing cuts, increased workloads, increased caseloads for special education teachers. You're at the 95th percentile. Most days, I look forward to going to work. Wouldn't we all just want to be able to always feel good about where we go to work? Well, your employees largely are 91st percentile. And the good news continues amongst the workday question. Information important to my work is shared with me in a timely and effective manner, 91st percentile. The district seeks input from a broad group of staff members, 91st percentile. Again, we talked about disciplinary policies and practices. That's a different question than our staff handles student discipline in a consistent manner. You can have the best policies in the world, but unless the staff applies them consistently, well, they're also self-reporting that they feel like they and their colleagues are doing a nice job that way. And I gotta tell you, that's not always the case. A lot of times they'll say, sure, we have good policies and practices, but nobody is using them. I've got a district I'm reporting to tomorrow. They're down in the 2s on that score. And the percentile ranks in the single digits. I feel comfortable sharing input and concerns with my supervisor administrator, 87th percentile. And here's where we get into one that, so the percentile rank, you may look at that and say, ooh, that's not the Frederic standard compared to all those others. But what I want to explain to you is the question, our staff does a good job educating our students. Look at that agreement percent. Look at that average score. It just means compared to other districts, you're not quite there. But I would caution you, this question, all of the scores are pretty tightly clustered. So if you make this a 4.3, you're probably at the 55th percentile. You make it a 4.4, and you're probably at the 70th percentile. So not all scores are treated or created equally. Generally speaking, educators are prideful and give their best and thus feel like they're doing a good job for the kids. I would not be alarmed by this, but again, I'm going to report the data out consistently, and that one is at the 37th percentile. The environment question. Ooh, was this a strong section for you? I feel safe at work, 99th percentile. You should feel very good. The school board is doing what it takes to make our district successful, 99th percentile. And I have to tell you, I've never reported that out before in my 4 years with the company. School boards are under fire. I've had to go the other way and tell a district they're at the 3rd percentile or the 7th percentile, and then I quickly close up my laptop and go home if I'm in person. All kidding aside, during these political times, elected officials are under a lot of pressure. And please don't take it lightly that the staff sees you this way. That corresponds then with the district is heading the right direction, 99th percentile, and not always linked together. Sometimes I report a low board score and a high district administration score. Sometimes it flip-flops it the other way. I just had that yesterday where I reported a very good board score and a very poor district administration score. Well, district administration, 99th percentile. All students in our school are respected for their values and beliefs, 95th percentile. How about your professional development? I have training and support to work with students from different backgrounds. This is kind of ironic because literally I'm working with the district tomorrow night That is their lowest scoring area. They're down at the 12th percentile because the teachers don't feel equipped to meet the needs of students with different backgrounds. Well, again, you've got a lot of strong areas, but to be, like I said, anything 75th percentile or above is celebratory. Great feedback here. I'm recognized when I do a good job. 80th percentile. In the last year, I've received useful feedback to help improve my work. How are they feeling about the formal walkthroughs, scheduled supervision, visits by administration, anecdotal notes about how they're doing on their job? They're getting good feedback, 68th percentile. It just, compared to the other scores, it maybe isn't quite there. But again, I would tell you, 50s, 60s, 70s typically are clustered towards the top of a report for a more typical district. This is a very atypical report tonight. I have opportunities for training and professional development to improve my work, 57th percentile. At the end of the environment section. So again, that's your lowest score, and that's considered average to high average, 57. And finally, how supported do they feel? Now, Kyle asked me to customize a few questions, which is just standard within our survey services proposal. We're glad to customize any way you want. So we asked the question, my workspace allows me to do my job well. Well, all I can tell you is 95% gave you a 4 or 5. Your average score is a 4.25, but I don't have a comparison percentile because that is a local question for Frederic only. Within the new shared tech support model, I can still get help from the tech department when I need it. Again, a very specific question that we came up with the board leaders that were on the committee and Kyle. 88% agreement, 4.03. Those are pretty strong scores. Awfully strong scores, quite honestly. And then we get into some questions where we have comparison data. I have the materials and supplies I need to do my job well, 99th percentile. Little side story, I was working with the District of Minnesota a couple years ago. Everything was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We got to this question, they're at the 1st percentile. And the superintendent got all red-faced, and I was presenting in person. She said, you know what, guys? I haven't raised your grade level budgets or your department budgets for 10 years. That's on me. Thanks for the feedback. So she knew exactly why they were grousing. So good stuff. All students in our school are given equal opportunities to learn and experience success. This is a question that a lot of districts staff are struggling with. They don't feel like things are equal, regardless of the kid's background. Right? Do they live in poverty? Do they come from a single parent home? Whatever their background. Not in Frederic. District's pay practices are fair. Now, again, this is another one without the context of the percentile rank. You might worry. You look at this page and say, oh my goodness, that's one of the lowest scores in this area of the survey. You're at the 95th percentile. Top 5% for pay practices being fair. Does everyone want to be paid more? Absolutely. That's why we ask it this way. They have to at least understand that within the confines and the budget restrictions you have, that you're doing the best you can, and they feel that. Is staff input valued? A survey like this really helps, but it's only one measure. The survey is just one tool. They feel like their opinion matters because of other things that are going on in the district too. How about the social emotional needs of kids being met? Again, 3.65 and a 77% agreement may not look real strong. A lot of districts are struggling with mental health. So in comparison to other districts, let's get the 91st percentile. And then our school supports students from diverse backgrounds, 80th percentile. Finally, as we wrap up the report, I have the technology I need to do my job well. By the way, I get great support from Brandon in the tech department, so grateful for him, and the staff feel like they have the tools they need to do a good job for the kids, 76th percentile. And between the other score, the shared model, and I have access to the technology support I need, again, percentile rank isn't quite as high, but look at the agreement percent, look at the score. That's good feedback for you. And the last 3 questions on the survey, our parents and community support the school district? 49th percentile. I have healthy working relationships with my coworkers, 34th percentile, but again, look at the other two scores, awfully good. And then one score that Kyle and I talked about a bit, and probably if there's any that's worthy of more discussion, our school has a process to ensure every student has a connection with at least one adult in school. 74% agreement, a 3.64, and has it at the 30th percentile. So all three scores kind of talking to each other, not quite the Frederic standard that you established on the majority of the rest of the survey. And then finally, the closing question, and you probably recognize this one too, on a scale of 0 to 10, but we say on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely are you to recommend the district as a place of employment? So, the box in the bottom right, comparison average of all the districts where we've asked this question thousands of times. 6.85, yours, a 7.99, and on this question, once again, you're at the 99%. What I think is particularly noteworthy, it is rare when I can show you that distribution on the left, where there's not at least a couple of people in the 0, 1, or 2 range. My boss, Bill, calls that the area where the people that have a bee in their bonnet can unload. Well, you have 5%, just a handful of people that give you a full score. Again, one of the rare times where the neutral score that we try to avoid on all of our other questions, it's 12%, but pretty low. But look how top heavy. 69% of your employees gave you an 8, 9, or a 10. Basically 7 out of 10 employees gave you an 8, 9, or 10, and those 8, 9, and 10s, they're the vocal employees. They don't rate you that way unless they're telling other people too, hey, there's an opening at the school, you should apply. It's a great place to work. There's a position in food service, or there's a position in first grade, whatever. They're your ambassadors. And 7 out of 10 employees are in that range. So, to summarize, there's 2 ways we can summarize your data. And I want to show you both, just so you see the 2 different ways we can look at your data. We can do it the way I did for many districts across the Midwest and those districts in Arizona. We can say, let's just look at the 5 highest scores. I'll pause and let you soak those in. And we can look at the 5 lowest as kind of our homework list. These are your 5 lowest just on raw Likert score. Now again, what I'd caution you about this, there's a data point in here that probably is on your to-do list. But some of these others are lower in the score, but the percentile rank is quite high because they're just areas that everybody's struggling with. Discipline, hey, social emotional needs. A lot of times people don't give good feedback. It's hard to feel good about the feedback you're getting, your evaluation process. I don't know how many people rave, oh, I love being evaluated, it's great, it's awesome. So, different way that I can present the data tonight is by 5 highest by percentile rank, and I had to cut it off after 5 because you had more than these in the 99th percentile, but these were the 5 highest scoring that have the 99th percentile, and they're pillars of a good district. Safety, a supportive board, a good district direction, the stuff I need to do my job well, and district administration that's supportive. So, kudos to you. These are hard to know where you go from here, because you're already at such a high level, but be proud and maybe do some reflecting on how you got here and why you're there, because that's why we do this survey. It's not to just look for areas of improvement. We also want to know where we're thriving so we can protect and maintain those areas. And then, what I think is a little bit more useful compared to other districts, where are we lagging behind? And these are your 5 lowest on a percentile rank basis. But now I have to tell you, community support, parent support, that's dead average, 49th percentile. Training and development to improve my work, that's slightly above the 50th percentile Mason-Dixon line that we established. Those 3 that are in the 30s, maybe worthy of discussion, but then again, I told you, a couple of those are still scoring very favorably, they're just lagging behind their peers. But what I wanna point out, both bottom 5 lists on raw score and percentile rank basis, our school has a process to ensure every student has a connection with at least one adult in the school. Well, that's at the 30th percentile. And on this report, it was the second lowest on raw Likert score. So that, as your survey provider, your project manager, that is something that Kyle and I talked about that kind of jumps out from, because everything is so favorable, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. So that's worthy of discussion. Some districts, when they see that, they've been very intentional about trying to have a way, maybe, sometimes it's offering more clubs for areas where kids don't feel a connection. I know in my district, they started a fishing and hunting club, where staff members that don't have dads, would be mentored by staff members. Others have gone just as a homeroom, where they connect with a staff member every morning, kind of a home base, touch base. I'm not here to tell you what to do. You've got a brilliant leader in Kyle here, who, by the way, we're gonna feature him on our podcast series, because we had such a nice time doing your strategic planning survey in the fall, and your staff report is so strong. We really like how data-driven he is, and supported by you as a board. And so we'd like to tell the Frederic story across the Midwest by featuring your district in our podcast series. But
I wasn't so excited about it.
yeah, he humbly agreed. But the reality of it is, you've probably seen it. I've sat in on his presentations at WASB and things of that nature, and quite honestly, you're a district that is more like most districts in Wisconsin as far as size, socioeconomic standing. The Brookfields of the world, the Nicolai's of the world, those wealthy districts, that's not the norm in Wisconsin. Turtle Lake, Frederic, Unity, Slinger was pretty typical. I mean, those are working folks who want a good education for their kids. That's more typical, and you've got some great stuff going. So we want to share the good news. Any questions for me again? Any slides you want me to go back to?
Can you go back to the one that had the raw score on the Likert scale, the 5 lowest? Thanks.
You bet. And again, when I hang up here, I did modify this just a little bit for the board, so I'll send this one to Kyle in an email as soon as we hang up here, so he can just forward it on to the board. So you've got the latest and greatest data, current in every way, shape, or form. Again, I'll just remind you, way back here, these scores, these are just peer districts, the most average, normal kind of report. I just wanted you to understand, it's not often I can report out the way I did for you tonight with scores that are that high. And it's one thing to say it. It sounds like I'm kind of just, I'm just softening the report. That's not the case. I'm really, really impressed and proud of you all.
This is
Not
really
hard.
useful.
Yeah, it's not easy doing what you do, so you have to soak it in. But again, like I said, reflect on what you've done, why you are where you are, so you stay there.
Yeah, in my view, I think it does help us, it helps continue to shape our work. That's why we wanted to do it, why we wanna understand and continue to understand if the things that we talk about and the ideas that we have are landing.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
I think it's important for a baseline,
Yeah.
you know, with the idea of like, okay, we're doing great now, and it's like, okay, in 2 years, if we're getting the different scores, then we need to kind of reestablish
Figure that
what we missed and where we.
So is
where we
this
got.
every 2 years?
We will do it, I wanna do it every year. because
Every year,
we
yes.
gotta get long.
Oh, okay.
Darren, can you
I
go-
didn't know.
I just said 2
Yeah,
years, like
can you
if
go
we're
back,
looking
I
out.
just didn't
Darren,
know
to
if
the
you
one
wanted-
slide that shows longitudinal on it, it's just blank? It was
Oh,
one
yeah.
of- Yeah, it was one, yeah, you know
I
where
would tell
it
you
is.
that no pressure, because I'm a terrible salesman, I'm an educator. I like to work with districts like you.
Here.
But
So you have the
what,
change.
Yeah.
our leading districts do this annually, to keep a pulse on things, because so much can change. Now, I'm gonna tell you, there's lots of ways to do it. Joe Zanowski in Menominee does it every 3 years. He surveys, takes 2 years to chase improvements in targeted areas, and then he comes back. And he has me present to the staff at the start of the year and says, okay guys, this is the goals based on the survey. And then they target improvement for a couple of years, and they come back and measure it. It's working for him, because that's how he wants to do it. I would tell you our leading districts do it annually, because staff turnover, it just, a lot can happen in a year.
I like the
And it really
idea.
sends a message, it really sends a message to your staff on, that, so they can reflect on that year.
Yeah, I, that was always my view, is that annually helps us the most to
Yeah,
keep away, because things do change, I mean, we all know.
Well, and I think then too,
day by
like
day,
if
month by
something
month.
isn't appearing well, you can get on it quicker
Faster.
versus letting people be frustrated about something or
Yeah,
not happy, or maybe all of a sudden they're like, there's an area where like we're not, you know.
Yeah.
Or if we choose a couple of these, we can see, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like
Are we doing
you know,
things that
and-
matter?
Yeah, and what is mattering.
Yeah.
Is it working, so I would.
yeah, I think
feel like once a
that's
year is a
where,
reasonable time.
where it makes it most useful to us, I look forward to that.
Especially if it comes, like, you know, didn't you guys do it right next to an in-service, so there was like a little time
Yeah.
allotted that people could, so I think that's nice too, because then staff don't necessarily feel like, oh, it's one more thing I have to do after work or this weekend. I mean, they may make that choice because they like look at it and they're like,
Yeah.
ooh, I wanna think about this before I submit, but
Yeah.
the time has been provided.
Yes, it
So-
was released the
And
morning
then,
of.
know this,
in-service.
at the end, there'll be 2 extra slides. So I'll show you your raw scores, top 5, bottom 5, your highest percentile ranks and lowest. I'll also show you which 5 grew the most and which 5 maybe regressed a bit, so that you keep your pulse on that too. And that's where it becomes a real rich experience, and next year, then we can measure how people feel about those 2 custom questions that Kyle put in there, just to keep an eye on those, since they're important enough to customize. Let's see, did we raise them? Did they dip? Is the shared tech model still working? You know, those kinds of things.
Do you wanna talk about the comments, Darren?
Sure. So what we do, there's 2 ways we can handle the comments, and, I think probably the best way is when I don't know, you tell me what you wanna do, but I guess verbally I'll tell you, we get all the comments, and just take it from me, there's something to be said for reading every comment, but then there's also some danger there, and the danger is, there's one-offs. And so I just shared a glorious report for you. I mean, I'm telling you, as good a report as I've ever had the honor to share in my role at this company. But there's always gonna be naysayers, and they have keyboard muscles, and so they can rank. Maybe not in Frederic, but in all my other districts. But what we've done is we've gone to what's called a comment theme analysis, and where we give traction to those comments that are shared by multiple people. And as you know, we have a full-time journalist on our staff, brilliant writer. So we do a frequency distribution using technology and say, okay, which of these comments were more than 5 times? Some of them are maybe 20 times. And then so I provided a report to Kyle that shows 6 themes. When we ask the question, what do you think the district's significant strengths are? You've got 6 themes to work from. A lot of them mirror the data, but I'd say the comments are kind of the seasoning that explain the high scores. So that there's value in seeing those. What I'd caution you about, when you put in front of them, what are some areas the district could improve? You're gonna have some themes there that are on the strengths list, and they kind of contradictory. Because even though, remember, when I shared your data, some of those questions, you had 84% agreement. Well, that means there's a handful, 10, 12 people that didn't score you favorably. And so they took the opportunity, because we provided it for them, to vent about a certain thing. And so one person's communication is a strength. I've never done a comment theme report where communication isn't seen as a weakness as well.
Right.
Can we ever communicate enough? In some people's eyes, no. They literally want to know things before they even happen. So take it with a grain of salt, but your staff took the time to write the comments. I wanted to study them and summarize them. Kyle has that report.
Okay. Yeah, Yeah, I think the themes are the most helpful
Yeah.
for us to understand.
So I did go over each building,
Yeah.
all the comments with each principal for their building, so you get an
Mhm.
insight. There was about 44 comments on the positive and 45 needs improvement or whatever,
Mhm.
suggestions, recommendations, so we got a lot of reading, I mean.
Yeah.
It's good though, cause yeah, like then people aren't just clicking buttons, you know that they're really
Right, no,
processing
Thinking
it.
about, yeah.
And then the same thing, if they were super excited about something, then here's why, and if I'm not, you know, if I have a concern, here's what my concerns are too, which
Yeah,
I would agree
for
like
sure.
helps us.
Oh, by the way, that's another reason we take away that 3.
Yeah.
It's because people are lazy. They
Yeah,
click
oh,
on 3.
yeah.
It makes them pause and say, whoa, I have to have it, can you help this one?
Yeah.
You gotta make it
Yes.
true.
Garbage in, garbage out, you get better data that way, so,
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay?
So with the comments that you're reading, like with 43 good or 43 bad,
Mhm.
it's like summarized by your,
They summarize in the,
right, so
6
that it's not like
categories, right.
specific, like you were like, I think it's that person, right?
Yeah. No,
well,
well,
and when
that's-
someone writes a
that's
comment,
good.
their comment may have 7 points within it.
Yeah.
Some
Right.
people wrote a laundry list, you know,
Oh,
it was just, what's
So
good
breaks
with
it
the
apart.
district, and
Yeah.
they made
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
paragraphs. you know.
And then you can break
Yeah.
that out into the themes.
themes.
Okay, that
Okay.
makes sense
Right.
too.
Smart, okay.
Yeah.
What is nice
It's not
about the
just-
comments though,
It's not
what's-
just the pain, yeah, it's not just the pain of the hurtful comments, it's also because it runs the risk of a district your size of breaking the anonymity, because you
Yeah,
just can't tell
for
it
sure.
writing style.
Right, that's what I was kinda asking, like,
Yeah.
you know, you were
That's
talking
exactly-
about your writer, it's like, you don't wanna
Yeah.
be like, oh, I think that was.
I couldn't really tell, but what the value of the comments, when we broke it down just to the elementary building, was people reference very specific details, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
In terms of processes or structures, very specific to your building, and that's helpful, cause then you go, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not necessarily I know who it is, but it's very specific to how the building functions, and so it was nice to see the buildings separately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right, like what happens in this building is very different. than
Very
what happens
different.
in- As it should be.
It gives you a little bit more direction then of
Right,
what's working,
because
not working.
behavior is very broad, that's a 30,000
Yeah.
foot view, are we doing good managing behavior? Well, okay, but you
Right.
can break that into 100 different situations and processes and right, and the comments allowed people to talk about specifics, and that's more helpful to
Yeah.
me, I think.
And we talked about contradicting, one would be monitor the staff so they're doing a good job, and the next one would be, but don't micromanage us. Okay, all right, I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
the
Yeah,
Goldilocks.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's good, yeah, so it's interesting.
Hey,
It was
I'll
good
tell you,
stuff.
maybe I told you this story already, I did the comments for our opening up after COVID survey, and I've never seen such colorful How do you feel about Mr. Severs opening the school back up, and it's like, oh, boy, careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
And, they'll tell you how that, they thought that shut down.
That's it.
Anyway, thanks. It's always a pleasure to work with you all. Anything
Thank you
else,
so
Dave?
much, Darren, we just really appreciate it and continue to find all of your work very useful, so we thank you so much.
Thanks for the kind words. It's a pleasure to work with you. Keep up the good work, and, look forward to seeing you again next year, okay, everybody?
We'll be back.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thanks.
Thanks. Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Yep, bye-bye.
Alright, lots of information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. My brain's on fire. Alright.
Carrie's like, we need to end the meeting.
No, I got all
She's
these
like, Aaron,
notes.
leave me in the
Okay.
regular.
Got
work to do.
Alright, we are to persons requesting an audience with the board, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Alright, moving on to our consent agenda. This is the latest we've ever gotten to a consent agenda in one of our meetings.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Mr. Cornelius left because he had the Lakeland Conference.
Oh, it was Scott.
Happy that was Scott.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he-
yeah.
So he had to go to Shell Lake, so
That's right,
that's
we know
why,
about that.
so he ducked out to go attend that with a couple students.
For sure, that's a very good banquet.
Just so people know that he didn't just walk out.
That's
Yeah.
That's very good.
Didn't like the survey.
Yeah, like halfway through the survey, I'm like, but we thought it was pretty good.
Alright, so we're on to our consent agenda. there were minutes to review, and then Kyle, anything you wanna point out from invoices and receipts this
Sure.
go around?
There was one check for $625 to, individual, and that was, it's Jolene Borchi, check 29537, that was for the middle school wrestling. She organized the brackets and the complexity of having the whole, each weight class and all that kind of stuff. And then, 29553, Mackenzie Creek Electric for $580. That was to have a shut-off valve put in the face room, so if there's a gas leak, there's one main, we didn't have one in there, so now we got one, so that's the safety thing. And check 29592 to the Tin Shed Cafe, it's $900, but that's, PTO is paying that because that is part of Steam Night, that's where they get the food for that evening. But just when you see a large check for a local business, what'd you buy there?
Nice.
And then the Bartingale Mechanical on 29614, that was the $1,720.81, that's the elementary boiler. It wasn't holding its temperature right, so they had to get a new gauge and install. And I don't know much about boilers, but I knew we needed it, so.
Sounds important.
Yes.
Once you start saying the word boiler.
I don't know.
It's a non-negotiable.
We didn't want to go
Right, we needed it, I don't
Yeah.
know. And then on receipts, Town of McKinley sent us their February settlement for $1,526.79, that's one of our smallest municipalities, that's their second one, so that was fine. And then the Town of Lorraine sent us their, it's for property tax for what's not covered by federal, for, federal property that's within their district that's tax exempt. And overall for the year, Libby budgeted $45,000 for revenue, and we've received $56,000 for this year, so we're ahead in that area. Same thing, the village of Frederic, we received property tax for mobile homes, and it was $1,257.68, and she was budgeting $1,120, so we're getting a little more revenue than what she anticipated, which is good, because you always should estimate your revenue low, and then if it comes in a little extra, you got a little extra spending money, so, yeah.
We like things that make Libby happy.
Most of the time, sure. I did with the staff survey, I did say to her, I said, hey, would this be your comment that you wrote? It was right in her voice, and she was like, maybe, I'm like, I understand that. Yeah, like, come on, it was good, it was funny.
Alright, anything you wanna talk about with budget? Any updates there we should know about?
Well, I had my report, but I'll tell you, we
Oh,
had
yeah.
a fraudulent check go through our banking account. So Libby's working with Polk County Sheriff's Department and our bank. 2 checks with the same check number came through, and one was from Clearwater, Florida, which was not where the check was supposed to be. And so she's working with the bank to get that cleared, and then Polk County will try and track it down. It was for $4,256, and she is looking at getting a program called Positive Pay, that the check can't go to the bank until it goes through there. If it doesn't go through Positive Pay as a, I don't know exactly how it works, it holds it, and then Libby actually has to go to the bank and say, no, that one's good, or that's illegitimate, so. There's scammers all over this world.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
It's
so.
really bad.
And the bank wouldn't know because the check looks a lot like our check.
Yeah,
It's almost identical. It's amazing what they can do out in the world, so.
Alright,
And then under consent with personnel.
yes, go for
For
it.
special ed director, no recommendation this time. I interviewed one candidate this week. I have another interview on Friday at 4:30. Otherwise, we have a resignation from Cassia Adams and James Flanagan. And no hires.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Right, next month.
Soon as we know. We do have, some recognition of donations this month. We have, youth sports donated $1,000 for softball warm-up jackets. Taylor Excavating, donated some sand for a jump pit, very important. Landmark Masonic Lodge 244 donated some pens and pencils. Frederic Arts, donated $500 to our art department. The St. Croix Valley Foundation donated $2,500 to Community Ed for the Elvis show. St. Luke's Methodist Church donated some socks and underwear to the elementary, very helpful. Clam Falls Lutheran Church donated $100 toward the Operation Help Closet. So once again, you know, every single month, we get the opportunity to have donations and thank the folks who support our school, and it's amazing that I have a list to read every single month. We are so well supported.
What's Operation Help Closet? Operation Help is an account that we keep when we receive cash donations.
Okay.
So if you
And then
buy
we
someone
can keep a
boots or
slush fund
jacket
when we discover need with kids.
Oh, okay.
So
It
can
gives
we
us a
do
little
it
flexibility, cause then you get the
or-
right size,
Yeah.
the right item, and it might be a one-off too.
Does the office take donations for coats and stuff, or no? Okay,
Yes.
cause I did.
Slightly used is okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, any questions about items from the consent agenda? Can I get a motion to accept? I'll make that motion. I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? All right, consent agenda is accepted. On to the administrative reports. Erin, do you wanna go first?
Nobody's gonna fight me.
Nobody's gonna fight you for it.
No, I know you brought up steam night, that was a great success. That was new for me, because I wasn't in that chair, and, Danielle she's the president of the PTO, right? She sat there with a clicker, and was calling everybody who came in the door, and it was 300 people. And we got lots and lots of compliments, people were impressed, that the stations and the tables were different. So the PTO worked really hard to try to create variety. There's a few things like the planetarium that of course they bring back every year because they're popular, but, really most of the stations were new and different, and so that kids who come every year feel like it's
Something to talk about.
Yeah.
new,
Yeah,
right?
come in and check it out, yeah, it was cool.
Lots of volunteers, we had a lot of staff who volunteered for that, so that's always pretty impressive too, when our teachers are willing to do that, and I walked around all night, all positive feedback, so people were excited to be there and knew what we had people at the front doors 40 minutes early.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We are not ready.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and everybody, they cleaned up and it really it went slick, so that is definitely one to keep. 4 or 5 have a concert tomorrow night, 4th and 5th grade. We are just wrapping up with forward testing. The window's actually open until next Friday. We like to give ourselves some grace in case kids have to make up tests, and that went well. Down at the elementary, the teachers put in a ton of work to pump the kids up and make sure that kids are prepared and doing their best and really trying hard. So Friday, we were kind of making weather dependent. There was a lot of ice cream making materials left over from steam night. You shake your own ice cream, so the 3 through 5 at our building who would take the Florida exam, they're having a celebration. And they're making their own ice cream, and having ice cream sundae bar to celebrate being done with all the state testing. Yep, so they look forward to that, so that's a big deal to get through all of that. So now today I was at CISA because now we're deep into planning for next year. Frederic it'll be our year now next year for compliance monitoring and all the titles, which really means, they give you a bunch of folders of check boxes and make sure you have this report and this data and this and that, and make sure these things are posted on your website, right? And you go through the boxes. So I'm trying to really get ahead of the game and try to get most of that stuff done over the summer so that we don't have to fumble through it during the school year. Kate Euler over there at CISA gave me the heads up that we were gonna get picked. So that was nice, so that we can get ahead of it. So.
Excellent.
Can I ask, did the concert get switched a week earlier, is it on I had 23rd still on 4th and 5th?
I believe that one was, no?
Okay.
I can't answer you confidently.
Okay, that's okay, I was just like, that date didn't ring a bell at
That
all.
date didn't ring a bell.
Cause they next Thursday, the 20. But that's okay, maybe that's a check later.
You are correct.
Oh, it's not tomorrow.
I
Okay.
misreported.
You got an extra weekend.
Good catch.
That's okay, but I was like, she's panicking,
That's
like,
right.
oh, because this Thursday is the dental clinic.
Okay.
That's
Dental
right.
clinic concert,
That's
we're all the same
right.
thing.
Not that you want to attend that, but, okay,
Although all
so
involved
next
in
Thursday. You are
Thursday,
correct.
so it's fine.
Both Thursdays have a track meet, correct, so
Of course they do.
it is next. Okay, you're right. I didn't need to be right, I just,
Yeah.
don't put that in the
You
paper.
need to know.
You wanna
You
know?
didn't want to know.
Right date, yeah.
You're correct, concert's next Thursday. Okay.
All right,
I'm glad you
excellent.
said that, cause then, yeah, I would've gotten a lot of phone calls tomorrow.
Mm-hmm,
What's going on?
Yeah.
yeah. All right, any other questions for Erin? All right, there are reports there from Marcus and Jada that everyone can review, and then Kyle. What else do you want to talk about?
On Sunday, Community Ed, Sheila Beecroft had the Elvis show here. There was over 300 people, and they seemed like they had a really good time, yeah. And she wrote a grant to offset the cost, so that's great. And now she's doing a survey with the people that attended if they wanted to have something like that similar. It looks like they do, so good time.
That's great.
Yeah, if you have 300 plus
That's
people come
cool.
on Sunday, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's
And
neat.
they're, my mother and my mother-in-law both went and they said it was fantastic, so.
Oh, that's
I know
fun.
Sheila got a lot of positive feedback.
Oh, very good.
I went and it looked like people had a real good time.
Was it excellent?
Oh,
good.
good. Oh, that's good to hear.
An Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
Like literally an Elvis impersonator.
Oh, okay.
Like just a fun show to attend.
Okay, there was a lady with them who did Aretha Franklin.
Oh, man.
Oh, really?
Oh, my.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
All right.
Level up, yeah.
I guess.
And then we, Caroline met with Mark and Johnson, follow up from the facility committee, and they're coming back out the 29th, and they're gonna do a core sample of our track to see if the base is, what state the base is at, if it's needs total replacing or not, and then we actually have some data on that. And they're mocking up some things for us, and they'll come back, they're starting to put some large general numbers together, not specific, so that's the first step on that, yeah. And then next week I'm going out Elkhart Lake for a conference for 3 days, so. Yeah.
Back
Elkhart
over to
Lake's
your
a
other
lot.
neighborhood.
Yeah, it's the other side of the state, yeah. So I think the other things I already talked about, so yeah.
All right, any questions for Kyle? All right, on to, board member reports and governance is thin this time around. We had Emily reelected to a 3-year term.
Yes.
For the board, yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy to have another stable year with our board, I think, you know, and having our survey results, it feels like we're well positioned to just carry forward, I really like that.
Yep.
So that is great. We didn't have any other committee meetings to talk through, but we do need to talk about board member participation in graduation, which is Friday, May 22nd. We usually try to have two board members participate in graduation. I don't know if there are people who are like definitely wanting to do it.
I mean, I
Sort
did
of
it last
thinking-
year for the first time, it was easy, enjoyable, I mean, it was,
It's a nice
but I
event,
mean,
yeah.
like, once again, if people are chomping at the bit and, to do that stuff.
Like, you have to be on stage?
Yep,
Mhm.
on stage,
You
handing
hand
diplomas.
out the diplomas and like.
Handing diplomas
I would
and
probably
handshake.
Handshake.
It's okay if it's not,
Shake
it's
hands.
okay if
Shake
it's not
hands.
right.
Seriously, I'm like, stage fright, yeah, I know
That's
it.
totally fine.
Like, people are staring
You
at
don't
me,
have
oh
to
my
be-
god,
yeah,
I'm like.
it
Mary gave a speech last year.
It is
I'm
your,
sure
it is
did.
your
Were you
right.
Some people are
impacted?
really good at it, I'm not.
Changed my life.
I thought so.
Okay, I hate to ask, do you know when Buck's graduation is, cause I have to attend.
That's a good question, isn't that night or is it?
I don't know.
I don't even know how to find that right now, but,
It'd just be on their.
that would be
on
a
their
conflict
calendar.
that I would have.
Keep
Sure.
it down on the calendar. Oh, show more.
I don't have
Oh,
to
it
do this right now,
doesn't-
but,
Yeah,
I
no, that
can't
makes
come,
sense,
cause
cause your
I can't
niece
commit
is
right now,
graduating.
my niece
from-
is graduating.
Yeah.
I can't commit right now.
What time is commencement?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
And it's a Friday night.
Yeah.
I would be happy to do it, I've done it before, but I haven't done it for a couple of years, so I would be happy, I think I'm available, absent an emergency. So,
Tentatively carried.
I would do it, yeah.
I mean, I can.
Chris, any interest? Or availability, or?
Interest is a strong word.
Okay. Fair. It isn't on state, I will say, the first time I did it, I was like, well, this is weird. But I had a kid graduate, so I made it easier.
You know,
Yeah.
my last child graduated in '08, so. But, I think others might be more interested.
I can look at the calendar, so I can't commit right now, but I would be willing to. It's been a while since I've been up there, so.
And you're gonna wanna do it next year, right?
Yeah, probably, so, yeah.
What did you say?
Oh, I mean, I've definitely, like, if you need me this year, I can do it. If you guys
Okay.
are content, I have no problem, like, sitting in the.
I'm not gonna put anyone's name in the
Yeah.
meetings right now, in
Yeah.
minutes, but you
Yeah.
and I can.
You guys
talk
talk
about that.
And we got next
Yeah.
board meeting still.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, so
Good to think about.
I'll put it in my calendar for sure, and then,
Well,
and then I'll show up and be
on the
surprised
ones
on
I have
which
to
one
be
of them.
standing in line for.
Or they'll both walk up there.
Or I'll.
Carrie, what do you want?
I better get a few extra made before she, before.
So, all right,
That
thank
could
you.
be my college gift.
Okay, to be determined.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so we are on to our action items. We took care of 10A, while Deb was still here. So the next one is our poor beleaguered graduation date for 2027, since the WIA changed their, process.
Regional sectional
Oh,
track got
Yeah.
moved to Friday, so
Right, we
graduation
thought we were
was.
organized.
We thought we picked a good date,
We
and
were
then the WIA changed things and it messed things up, so.
Well, I go to the WA office, I'm not gonna complain. Cause I'm on the advisory committee there, so.
Yeah, originally it did say it was on Thursday night.
Yes,
They're,
it did.
like anything else, they're running short of officials, so they're
Yeah.
alternating even years,
Oh.
odd years with divisions 1, 2, and 3, so that the officials can go someplace Thursday night, someplace else Friday night, and no one wants Friday night, so they said, okay, every other year you can get Friday, so.
So they didn't just change it willy-nilly, they got
Yeah.
forced to change
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but it impacted
It
us.
impacted
Yeah,
us, right.
So it was supposed to be what night?
The 28th.
28th, which is the
28th.
Friday, May 28th, right, which is the Friday of Memorial Day
Memorial Day
weekend. So we can do whatever you want, if you wanna move it to Friday the 21st, we could. I think that might be popular with someone.
That would be my preference.
Then you
But-
can make that recommendation.
But once again, I.
No, you're okay, go ahead.
But,
My view is that I would go with that as well, because I don't like deeper into Memorial Day weekend. I think if you're
Yeah.
gonna do Memorial Day weekend, it's Friday or nothing, in my view. So I would go with the 21st.
I would think that's how the parents of graduates would look at it too, because they don't want the middle of the weekend and then,
No.
you know, if you had Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, you'd say, well, I'm gonna have my party on Saturday,
Oh,
and
that's
Friday,
just-
and no
well, I
one's
think
gonna-
that's probably the other thing too,
Yeah.
is if people are gonna have their party that weekend, they're not gonna wanna have.
Graduation.
They're not gonna wanna do their party
Yeah.
like Saturday afternoon and then come to commencement in the evening or.
No.
like-
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
no, I think it's gotta,
I
the
think
other
that-
choice would be Sunday the 23rd, and I don't know how people feel about Sunday, but I don't care, I've seen it on regional.
Gransford did it for years, and
I
a
think
couple
we
years
did it
ago,
for
they
years.
did trade it.
We did Sundays for years.
Frederic used to
Frederic
always
did
be on
on Sunday,
Sundays.
yeah.
I just throw it out, if you guys can, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As far as school, if they graduate on Friday the 21st or Sunday the 23rd, they're not coming on the
Yeah.
24th, so they're
Yeah.
out, they're
I was-
gone, you know.
Yeah, I was
So it
kinda
doesn't
counting,
matter.
and I'm like, I think is it like 4 more school days that they would have? Or miss, or something like
Yeah,
that.
roughly, yeah.
I'm assuming parents don't want it on a Sunday.
My view is Friday's better than
I would-
Sunday. If
I
it's,
would-
if it's me and I have a student graduating, I'm gonna prefer Friday.
Well, I feel like back in the day, everybody graduated, like, and then everybody had their parties at the same time. Now the
Yeah.
kids like to stagger their parties so that they can try to
Get
make
to
the
them.
rounds to, as many as they can get to and stuff,
The
but.
ceremonies might have been longer at that time too,
Well,
with
true,
more,
yeah.
with more students
more
and things like
students.
that, so they go pretty quick. I think Friday the 21st is fine.
Friday the 21st. Can I get a motion for Friday, May 21st of 2027?
I'll make that motion. I was gonna leave it for you. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
I'll let you know, it is on my digital calendar on this date, I put it on there,
The
so that
21st.
as I.
Lock it in.
Cause people like start talking about things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, that's gonna be great, you know what I mean, and so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna do breakfast again.
Yeah. Might have to not have competing days on that, just kidding.
Perfect. All right. Now we have a string of co-op applications to update. These are our co-op agreements for a variety of different sports. They come up every couple of years. You'll notice that the dates look pretty far out. That's because of how the WIA rules are in terms of when those agreements have to be in place. So we have to have agreements in place in order for co-ops to survive into those future years. These are just something we approve. I think it's always been our intention to keep our co-ops in place to give as much opportunity for our students as possible. If anyone has questions about those, we can certainly talk about them. Otherwise, we just need to approve each of them in turn. So my thought would be, does anybody have questions about any of the different co-op agreements or relationships before we start going through them?
I mean, is there, I'm sorry guys, there was something I'm supposed to remember to do.
There,
It's
like,
just an alarm.
we could not have a softball or baseball team, it was just Frederic. In track and field, you can have a track team with 3 kids, but it's better if we work down and have relay teams in the whole thing, so it's best to have all 4 of these.
And there's
in
nothing
place.
like really changing, I mean, from like the way
No,
that they
it was
have been
both- no,
functioning and
no,
stuff like that, but we
No,
are like
all
the
of,
same.
yeah, in fact, you could make all one motion for all 4 of these if you wanted to, because we are.
I'm happy to do that.
We're shrinking,
Yeah,
we're
makes
shrinking, we gotta
sense.
stick together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, and I mean, I would say, and I think the co-ops have been successful in recent years.
I think so.
We've come to sort of the other side of some of the challenges. People are supporting them, they're used to them, it's been good, and I think that changes
If you
changes
think
don't
we have
make sense.
115 kids and we've got girls track, boys track, baseball, softball and golf,
Golf.
that's 5,
It's huge.
how could 100 kids support 5 sports, right?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah, it's amazing.
I couldn't believe the number of kids in golf, because
got-
I
Yeah,
was up
it's a huge
taking
one.
pictures for the booster club the other day while
Yeah.
they were doing team, or Cahill was here, and like, Alyssa and I took like 4 golfers, and I said, how many, cause I said, I know a couple of them are, you know, gone, and they were like, oh, there's like 10 gone, there's, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I guess I'll have to talk to your coach
Oh,
about getting the
I
rest of
think
them.
there
Yeah.
are 14 golfers, 1
Yeah.
luck, 13 Frederic right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
It's really
But
popular.
regardless, I
That's
mean,
cool.
it's, you know, pretty, golf seems to be a growing
And they're
sport all
doing
of a
well.
sudden, which is.
And it's the
that's
cheapest
awesome.
way to learn how to golf.
Yeah, but I mean, I
Nice
think it
way
is,
for-
it was nice to see so many kids, you know, and,
Doesn't Frederick have 2 golf courses?
Frederic has one, and then there's a golf course in Luck, and I was just gonna say, both of those courses have done very specific things to support youth
Yeah.
golf,
Okay.
and that has helped it stay accessible in this area. Both courses have been incredibly intentional about that and support our teams really well.
and I think they're pretty good about like letting the kids, if you're on the golf team, like, I don't know if it's play free rounds or really cheap, or, you know, at certain points in time, but just really tell, so
Yeah.
encourage those kids to get out there, and, I mean, to me too, it's like something healthy to do in this.
There's a lot of access, and the members of those courses are used to seeing our golfers out there, and not even just the ones that are on the golf team, and I think probably some exceptions, but by and large handle that really well, handle having younger golfers around, which is great, so that's pretty important. All right, well then, we're gonna put them all together,
We can wrap this up.
if everyone's okay with that, and so I will make a motion to accept and approve the co-op applications for girls track, boys track, girls softball, boys baseball, for the 26-27 and 27-28 co-op years. So I'll make that motion, can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. All approved as one, thank you. All right, so discussion of future dates, are there any committee meetings to focus on, Kyle?
No, the facilities after Mark and Johnson gets together on the 29th, I'll find out more from them, but
Sure.
that'd be the next thing.
Okay.
And that's just gonna be the, like, kind of quotes for the survey kind of thing, or?
Well,
just quotes for-
we're talking about the football field and the track, and they're gonna come out that day and they're gonna do some site, like they're gonna see where the water lines run and, they're gonna do the, check the underground, undersurface of the track. They may walk on the football field and see how that ground is, just some measurements and
Okay.
some initial before they can start
Doing, yeah,
any,
okay.
giving us any round numbers, yeah.
Alright, and then our regular board meeting next month is May 20th. 2 days before graduation. Alright. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Can I make a comment before we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do.
I had contacted, Mr. Cornelius, and he contacted Ms. Stoughty, and the NHS students came and helped the Frederic Friends of the Public Library set up for their craft supply sale last week, and I got raving reviews about the conduct of the students and the helpfulness of those students that came from NHS. So I just want to be sure that I put a plug in for both, Mr. Cornelius and Ms. Stoughty for helping set that up.
That's
So,
excellent.
and the students, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very good,
That is
polite and
excellent.
strong.
Love it.
Nimble.
It's helpful to have that.
Nimble is really important.
Nimble, yeah.
For sure.
So, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Well, on that very happy note, now, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alright. 6:51,
And let's see signatures.
I only have signatures.
Oh, I
We got the-
did
Some-
see your packet.
some.
Yeah, there's a,
Like a hand on.
we're gonna need, we'll do our tables, we always lay them out, because otherwise they,
Right.
the ink runs.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
There's Joe presenting.
Good.
It's like a thing I remember.
I approve.